I'm Alyssa Norcross, a product manager here at Revenova. I'm going to take you through building a load and actioning that load all the way to invoicing and how Revenova can make the day-to-day easier for your brokerage. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and build a new load. I'm going to select Dean Foods here, make this a truckload load, and I'm going to go ahead and do our detail entry. We do have the option to do a quick entry because I know sometimes our customers don't provide all of the quote information you need. In this case, we're pretty lucky, so I'm going to go ahead and do a detail load. I'll do same as customer, so the Dean Foods TP information is automatically populated. You can see that the shipping and receiving hours and the appointment required is automatically there for you. So you don't have to remember that information in your head, and it's just entered once, and then every load you build for that customer, it'll automatically be there. For the delivery location, I'm going to go ahead and select account address, and then type in Revenova, and select our location here in Illinois. For the expected transit time, I'm going to say I want it here by the 31st, and then I'll go down to our line item information. It's going to be a load of parts, it's going to be about 10,000 pounds, and it's 15 pallets. Dimensions are 48 by 48 by 48. And that's all you need in order to quote for a full truckload shipment. From there, I'll go ahead and hit save, and I'll populate the load screen. Once this loads, I'll go in and show you a variety of tools that can help make pricing and quoting your customers a little bit easier, as well as negotiating with the carriers to get the best rates for your loads. So if I scroll down here, you can see our integration with Trimble Maps provides a route information for how you could possibly deliver that load. It also overlays with weather, so you can see if there's any troubling weather in that lane. So you can see there's nothing really in the Midwest today, luckily, but there seems to be some issues in Florida and Georgia. So if I had a lane in those areas, I'd probably add additional transit time so that your customers have the most accurate information you can provide. Scrolling up, we have the Rate IQ tool. So this is our AI-powered analytics tool that gives you a spot rate for your carrier pricing. At the top, it's our Revenova predicted rate for this lane. So for this, it's about $1,600. And then if I scroll down, you can see these are all of the inputs that calculated that $1,600. The top is the Revenova spot rate, which is based on our carrier lane history within the TMS. And then also our integrations with DAT, FreightWaves, and TruckStop that provides the pricing tools from their systems right into the TMS. New on our 7.9 release is the custom source. So what this is an open API, so you can get information from, say, a legacy system or another third-party pricing tool right into the TMS and include that in the Rate IQ to help, again, with your carrier negotiation so you know exactly where you want to be at when you're negotiating with those carriers. Next, I'll hop into FQA tab and scroll down to Lane IQ. Lane IQ is our lane-by-lane analysis tool, and it gives you a quick snapshot of your sales history for that specific lane. So it breaks down your previous customer quote rates and your previous carrier quote rates. You can see that it's bucketed by the mode within the system as well as the time period. So you want to probably base your rates off of the more recent bucket. So I have quite a bit of data on this lane, so I'm probably going to want to be closer to this $2,400 range and carrier buy rate of around $1,900. Scrolling down, you can see the All Carrier History tab. This provides you with the actual carriers that have moved that lane in the past. So this is a really great tool to help you secure capacity because you know that these carriers have been in this location before and have moved that lane previously. So scrolling down to truck postings, this is all of the available trucks in your network that you can use to actually secure capacity for this load. So how this is done is if you click on this little plus sign, And say you have a carrier on the phone and you have a great relationship with that carrier. You can go ahead and say, I'm going to create one for Blast Transport. And the carrier says he's got a dry van, 53 foot, available in the US in Dallas. So I'll go ahead and select Dallas, Texas. He's willing to go within about 50 miles for that pickup. So I'll set the range as 50 miles. And for destination, he's willing to go anywhere for this load. So I'll leave that open. Initial quantity, this is where you would define how many trucks are available. So I'll go ahead and do 1. And then the day available, I'll make it Tuesday. And it's a reoccurring, so I know every Tuesday, starting on the 29th, Blast Transport has a truck available. Why this is so helpful is since I might have a really good relationship with Blast, but maybe operators in our New York office don't know about Blast, but they have a load at the same lane from Dallas, they can use my relationship to secure capacity. Again, trying to get as much data into the system as possible. If you scroll back up to the FQA and you type in the carrier's name, you can actually request quotes directly from them. What will happen is they'll receive an email in their inbox that looks like this, basically with the load information as well as a carrier quote request. This is pretty customizable, so you can brand it for your company as you see fit. Once they click on this book and quote the load tab, it'll take them to our carrier community site. So again, it breaks down all the load information, and they can actually go ahead and submit a carrier quote. So I'll go ahead as the carrier and say, I'm gonna do an all-in rate of $1,800 and maybe a $200 fuel charge. For liftgate, I'll do $50. So a total all-in rate of $2,100, and then hit submit. Jumping back into the TMS, I can see now that quotes are received. I've received that carrier quote of $2,100. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna quote my customer. So I have a automated markup here. So I'm making about $360 on this load. I think that's good, so I'm gonna go ahead and save that and send out the quote to the customer. Once the customer accepts the customer quote, I'm gonna go ahead and tender it to my carrier so we can actually get this load picked up. So when I hit tender, our tender email template will populate. Again, this is pretty customizable to your needs. It has the carrier contact defaulted there, again, as well as all the load information and the documentation required for that carrier, such as the carrier confirmation, rate confirmation, and the bill of lading. So I'll go ahead and send that. And the carrier will receive all of that information directly into their email. Since the carrier has accepted the load, we can now start the tracking process. As you all know, that can be a really time-consuming process for a brokerage. So we have a few tools that help you automate that. We can either accept EDI or API status updates from your carriers, as well as an email request for status. So if I go ahead and request carrier status, it'll send an email to that carrier where they can manually update the status as they arrive at the stops. Another option is if you say have that carrier on the phone or they emailed you directly, you can manually update a check call. So I'll go ahead and change this to en route, and I'll update the ETA. So my driver is on his way for pickup, make this en route, and the carrier status is no issues. I'll go ahead and add a next check call date so that I know that I need to follow up on this. So if his ETA is around noon today, I'm gonna go ahead and do a check call for around 1 p.m. so that if I'm actioning off a list view, I know which loads I need to follow up on quicker based on the priority of that shipment. Go ahead and hit save, and you'll see that the load status switched to dispatched since the driver's on his way. Hopping back into the view from the carrier, they'll be able to go to the carrier site and click on the load that's currently in transit to provide you with the latest status updates. So if I click on this load, it's going to provide the driver with a quick synopsis of the load. They can add the driver information, so I'll go ahead and put his name there, and then his phone number. If they have the tractor number and the container number, that can be provided there as well. So I'll go ahead and confirm that update, and that'll go through to Revenova, so your operators have the latest contact information for that specific driver. Say this driver has actually arrived. So I'm going to go ahead and change the status to arrived, and then add the arrival information. Let's make this 1300, no issues, driver arrived. I'll send that update through. What this will do is when you go back into the TMS as a Revenova user, you'll see that the status is now arrived. This is all broken out in the tracking log, so you can see that that is updated here. Okay, let's go ahead and deliver this load. So I'm going to manually enter a check call, say it delivered on the 30th with a arrival time of 1400 and a departure time of 1500 because everything was moving pretty smoothly. Make it unloaded clean and go ahead and hit save. On the carrier side, they can go to the carrier website and click on the load that just delivered. Here, they're able to actually enter the invoice information directly on the site. So I'll go ahead and select the 30th and make the invoice the original quoted amount with the invoice number. I'll upload the attachment directly into the carrier site, as well as any required documentation. So you can actually set this based on your customer's requirements. So if your customer needs a packing slip and a delivery receipt, you can denote that here so your carrier knows exactly what's needed in order to get paid on time. So I'll go ahead and upload the POD and attach that here. From there, I'll just hit submit payment, and that's all it takes for your carrier to invoice you. We're also partnered with HubTran, so we can receive invoices and POD information directly from that integration, as well as EDI. Hopping back into the load. We have automated workflows, so based on specific fields on the load, or if you receive the POD documentation that you need, that can automatically switch the load into a completed status. So I'll go ahead and switch that here. And you can see once it's in completed status, and I go over to the Invoices tab, a customer invoices was automatically generated. It breaks down all of your pertinent invoice information so you know exactly when that invoice is due, and just a quick synopsis of that account and load information. You can generate the PDF directly from this record, and you can send it via email or via EDI to that customer. This invoice is pretty customizable, and so you can brand it to your needs as well. Thank you for joining this demonstration of the Revenova TMS lifecycle. I hope you saw how our tools can help you more accurately price and negotiate with your carriers, as well as how our automated email loop with the carrier engagement helps you so you don't have to have as many phone calls or emails outside of the system. To see all the exciting things we're doing as a product team, go to our website, revenova.com, or follow along on all our social media pages. I'll see you next time, and can't wait.